Okay, welcome to Little Music Boxes, and this is the Volca FM. This video is going to be an ASMR tutorial slash tour slash just what I like about this synthesizer, and yeah, I hope it works out. So, I guess we should start in the beginning of what does FM mean? FM stands for frequency modulated synthesizer, and there are a number of better videos out in the world that can teach you how that works, but I guess one fun anecdote is that when I was talking to my friend about synthesizers, he said to me, "Don't get a FM because it just sounds like a hammer banging a metal sheet." And I suppose there's a lot of truth to that, because it can sound pretty harsh. But there's also some interesting sounds that can come from it that are very delightful, very, very nice. It's percussive in nature and can sound a bit metallic, but also, yeah. Yeah. It can sound really good. I guess let's just start with this keyboard. This is a ribbon keyboard. It's a multi-touch keyboard. And the multi-touch comes from this idea that it's a polyphonic synthesizer. And there's a lot of details in there, and you can argue a few ways, but the idea is that you can hear a few notes at once. In fact, you can hear 3 notes at once. And the minute I hit this 4th note, you stop hearing this first one. If I change it to monophonic, then you can only hear 1 note at a time, ever. The other voice mode is unison, which means you're only striking 1 key, but there's a lot of different notes stacked on top of it. But technically, it's still just 1 voice at a time. So I'm going to go back to poly. Now I want to talk about this section up here, first here. What's nice about this is that you can transpose pretty easily. You can shift the keyboard, but this is different. This applies, this transpose right here, little guy, that applies to notes that have already been recorded. So there's a sequencer built in here. I'm going to press play. And these 2 sliders, transpose and velocity, they can apply to notes that have already been recorded into the sequencer. In fact, all of this does. So when I transpose up, going into a higher octave, and I don't need to re-record anything. Same for velocity. Velocity is how hard on a piano you strike a key. Here it kind of translates to how loud it is, or how harsh the attack is. It's not really the point of this video to be harsh, so we'll keep it down here, which is nice. Now, the way FM synthesizer works is that you have a few different waves. The main wave that you can hear is called the carrier. And the carrier is modulated, right? Frequency modulation. So that frequency of the carrier is being modulated by other waves. And it can be pretty complex, but Korg has figured out a way to simplify that. Simplify the things that you would need to change really quickly into these four knobs. And they're pretty simple. It's the attack and decay of the carrier, and again, of the modulator. First, let's talk about the carrier. The carrier is the sound that you hear. So, if I turn up the attack, meaning the sound will come slower, you can hear it gets a little less stabby, a little bit more of a pad. Let me turn down the decay. The decay is how long the sound lasts after the key has been struck. So, let me return that attack to normal. Yeah, it's a short sound, but it can be long. If the decay is all the way up, it can last a very long time, seemingly indefinite. So, that's nice. Let's talk about the modulator. The modulator is the wave or set of waves, in this case, that's affecting the sound that you hear. It's pretty hard to explain, but let me put it this way. If I lengthen the decay, let me shorten the decay of the carrier like we did. Very short sound. Let me lengthen the decay of the modulator. You can't really tell that anything different is happening because the carrier is what you hear. But as soon as I make that longer, you can tell, oh, there's a helicopter or an airplane flying over. Sorry about that. So we can see that the modulator, although we can't hear it, we can hear the effect of it on the carrier. Same for attack. All right, let's talk about the LFO. Let me turn these to normal. LFO. Yeah, LFO. Well, what do we gotta say about the LFO? LFO means low frequency oscillator. It's kind of a similar idea to the modulator really, but the idea is that it gives out this frequency that's so low you can't hear it, but it's kind of shaping the way that these ones are heard. And usually it's used to modulate different aspects of the sound. Maybe it's pitch. It can make it go woo woo. You could also modulate the volume or the amperage to the sound, which is what's happening here. So the rate is how fast that wave is going, and the depth is how big it is, how deep. So right now it's turned to 0. Let's turn it up to about 10. And you can hear it in the decay. Let me crank it up so you can really hear it. It's pretty wild sometimes, but if you treat it with respect, you can get it to make it sound like it's just an old piano. Like that. It's just a little out of tune. It's pretty good. Alright, let's talk about the algorithms. The program is basically the instrument that I'm playing. I'm just going to stay here to this whole video, but the algorithm is interesting. You see, when these modulators are impacting the sound of the carrier, there's different organizations of modulators and carriers. There's around 6, and they can be in any combination, any order. One wave can impact another, and then you can switch it, stack them, order them, have one giving feedback on itself, or many. There's a lot of things it can do. And the algorithms are, well, they're that organization. They're how the sound is structured. They're how the frequency is modulating each other. So I'm going to turn this knob, and you're going to see a few preset algorithms flash across here. There's 32 of them. And it's really cool because they don't just change the sound. They change the feel, the timbre, the emotion. And but they don't change the instrument. So sometimes it can be subtle like this. And I really like it because it can sound kind of glitchy. So I'm going to try to find the one that's supposed to be preset here. 3. You can tell because it has that little underline in front of it. That's how this program is intended to sound. Alright. Okay, so that's this tour here. You know, each of these Volcas have kind of a superpower. On the sample, it's the ability to loop. There's also a reverb. On the keys, there's a delay. On the bass, there's a really nice filter. On the FM, we have this arpeggiator. And the idea of an arpeggiator, or an ARP, is that when a sound is being played at any given moment, let me turn this off and show you. When I play a note, there's F. Let me turn down that. It's only playing that one note. But if I turn on the arpeggiator to rise 1, it's playing that note over and over again. And if I hold 2 notes, it's going back and forth. If I go to rise 2, we're going up an octave and down an octave, and just kind of moving between that. And again, if I hold multiple notes, it can be quite good. And again, there's rise 3. There's also a clock divider. So this is based on the tempo that it's at. We're really slow right now. We're at the slowest it can be. It's 56 BPM. But this divider here, so right now it's just moving along with the time. Let's make it fast. So this is half time, or double time rather. And the arp can rise or fall. So let's go to fall 3. Or even random. So there's a lot of options there. Well, there's 6 options there, or 9, because each one has a 3 octaves, rise, fall, or random. I prefer rise 2 most of the time. The beautiful thing about this is that all of these things that we've talked about, they can be sequenced. They can be recorded as you tweak the knobs. If we turn the function on here of motion sequence, I'll turn smooth on too. I think that just means the transition between the steps are smoother. I'm not sure. But if we turn on that motion sequence there, all of the changes that we do to these knobs while it's going, if it's going on record, they get changed. So even the algorithm. And even the arpeggiator. And the clock. So, yeah, this is the Korg Volca FM. I really like it. And, yeah, I hope you do too. I'm just gonna turn it down now. And turn it off. Good night.